Three men and a multiverse of sci-fi's finest spacecraft. But which ones can claim to be the greatest ships ever? Welcome to Space Doc Jury.
And welcome to Space Doc Jury, full episode 21. I'm Lee, and I'm bringing the Star Destroyer Finalizer.
I'm Peter, and I'm bringing the NSEA Protector.
I'm Andy, and I'm bringing the Pillar of Autumn, and you are not bringing the Finalizer because it's just a fucking Star Destroyer with a body kit on it. It's exactly the same thing with one of those cheap plastic body kits on it.
Really?
It's the same. Yes.
Pete?
Yeah, it doesn't look any much different from the other Star. Oh, that was a massive disappointment for me when I saw Force Awakens.
It's going to score the same with maybe one more point for size and one less point for cool because it's the same ship.
Hold on. Right, okay, fine. How about I'm Lee, and I'm bringing the Gladiator class Star Destroyer.
No, because that's Legends and that's just fan wank.
Okay, fine. Hold on. I'm Lee, and I'm bringing the Imperious class Star Destroyer.
They're not even trying anymore. It's the same damn thing. It's a great triangle in space.
Yeah.
Fine.
One eternity later.
But all your bitching about Star Trek ships being the same, Star Wars isn't exactly the height of bloody innovation.
Excuse me, I've got one right here. I'm Lee, and I'm bringing the Pelion class Star Destroyer.
No, that doesn't look any different.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm inclined
it
to
does, but it's not very good.
It's like a cross between a Star Destroyer and those little mouse droids on the Death Star.
Fine. Oh, for goodness sake, hold on.
And it's still fan wank as well.
Hold on. I've got more ships here. Okay. So you don't want a Star Destroyer is what you're saying?
Yeah, that's kind of what we've come to, yes.
Yeah. It's largely what we're leading towards.
Well, the only one I've got on my list at the moment, I've got on a piece of paper right here with facts in front of me, is the USM Auriga.
Oh, yes. Yes. I think it'd probably be the best if you did that.
From Alien Resurrection.
That okay.
So, someone give Voyager a shout down at the bottom. It might be losing its animated place at the bottom of the team.
Fine. Okay.
Are you sure you want? I mean, okay, we were giving you shit about the Star Destroyer. I don't think you need to punish yourself quite that much.
It's the only one I've got left on my list with the facts and figures at this point. Right. Fine. Okay. So, I'm Lee, and I've got the USM Auriga from Alien Resurrection. Right.
On the plus side, though, again, positives. It was written by Joss Whedon.
Fuck you. Which brings me, speaking of fuck you, brings me to Slanishi Watch.
I thought we didn't have to do this now that the Vengeful Spirit wasn't the top of the top 10.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because I found it and I thought of you guys.
This could end poorly.
You see, everyone goes on about like the Slanishi thing, or Slanesh. And
do they?
Yeah.
Do they?
Well, ever since you've shown it to me, I've had 6 months of it now. And
are you sure it's not just the voices in your head?
Probably. But they sound like you two, so that's more worrying, to be honest. But I found this fantastic picture. Please enjoy.
No, just reading the fucking link. I'm just no.
You sure?
No. Yeah,
No?
I'm quite sure. I can read the URL that's visible there, and I am not reading it. The URL is.
Well, hold on. Yeah, there. Let me send it to you just straight as a picture, then.
No, it's fine.
There you go. There it is.
Oh, you cunt. Oh, wow.
No,
Good night, everybody.
That's. I mean, it's
That's enough to put one off one's hog lumps. It really is.
Well, it looks like it's got a few hog lumps, to be honest. So, yeah. Apparently, the Russians do like a bit of Slanesh action.
Oh, you surprised me.
They do like it up them.
Yeah. In fact, they go so far as to actually repeat. There's another picture which I won't furnish you with. I'll save it till next time.
No, we're good. We don't need to see it. Honestly, we're
you
good.
Sure?
Yeah, we're quite sure.
Because they've actually done.
No, we're good. We're sure. Yeah.
The Chris Pratt thing with the
Velociraptors.
That's all I'm going to say.
No, we're good. We're good. We're all fine down here. We're fine.
Yeah.
How are you?
I've got Russian cosplay as well. You've only got yourselves to blame on this one. You unleashed the beast.
No. You're the one going out looking for this shit now.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. Okie dokie.
Incidentally, if there's any justice in the world, your computer is going to crash at work without stuck on your desktop.
Hold on. No, I've got a really cute one here. It's a Pokemon Slanesh.
Oh.
This is good. I mean, you can't go wrong with this. I mean, hold on. Let me just copy this image. You can enjoy this one. This is a great
Suddenly
one.
we realise why Games Workshop have got rid of Slanesh now.
There you go. How can you dislike that? It's a Pokemon Slanesh. It's,
Yeah, it's an improvement, I suppose.
No, it's not.
Have you seen its arms?
Yeah.
In Soviet Russia, Pokemon catch you.
Yes. They do more than catch you. Anyway, Pikachu. Right.
I put it this way: if we let you do one of your Star Destroyers, can we stop us and Slanesh watch at this point?
No, it's too late. That ship sailed. The Auriga's coming in. So, So this week we're doing just random ships.
Whatever plan we had, didn't survive contact with Slanesh watch last week.
No, it didn't. So it's down to giving you the top 10. So here's the top 10 from last time. At number 10, it's the big rack of ribs. It's the Bodines of outer space. It's the USG Ishimura. At number 9, also with 60 points, we have the USS Defiant, still sitting there looking like a terrible dustbuster with 60 points. At number 8, moving all the way down from its vaulted 4th place, we have the SSD Executor with 62 points. At number 7, with 63 points, we have the Dalek Mothership from the 2005 edition of Doctor Who. At number 6, still hanging in there, is the Battlestar Pegasus with 64 points. At number 5, the Imperial Star Destroyer, which could either be the Venerator, the
Finalizer, the Gladiator, the Bellion.
The Bellion, all sitting there with 65.
Mystifyingly above the Executor.
Yeah, there you go.
Stop whinging.
Yeah, 65 points. At number 4, holding firm, is the Battlestar Galactica with 65 points, and that's the Ronald D. Moore version. At number 3, we have the Borg Cube, slipping down one place with 67 points. At number 2, the Snowplow Dildo of Snowplowiness, still the Vengeful Spirit with 69 points, inhabits position number 2, which means...
I also think has affected your brain somewhat.
Yeah, it has somewhat. At number 1, sitting right at the very top, sitting pretty like a big grey bollock in space, is...
That's no bollock. That's a space station. That's which means it's not eligible for our top 10.
It is not a space station because you would have had the bloody... I don't know, that Babylon 4.
Are you trying to say we should have blown the bloody doors off?
Should have blown the bloody doors off. You brought this on yourself. Is the Death Star with 73 points.
I suddenly have a massive urge to see Michael Caine as a Jedi.
Yeah. A Jedi must feel nothing.
Yes. He was a pupil of mine until he turned to evil. It's more machine now than man, twisted in evil.
Maybe we should do. Maybe next week we should do do Michael Caine doing the top 10.
Oh, I think that needs to be done.
I said the USG Yoshimura. I just kept looking and don't blink.
Yeah,
anyway.
and keep looking and don't blink. I never saw the Ishimura. I never went on it, but I did see the house it bought, and it was lovely.
Lovely.
I've buried too many of my friends, Master Wayne.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I've buried too many of my friends in Ishimura. Right. Okay. Well, anyway, so let's move on.
We're not 10 minutes in, and the wheels have already long since left this bus.
They've not just come off. I mean, I think the bus has taken to hovering.
I was going to say, just as well, spaceships don't need wheels, really.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
except for the ones you bring.
Yeah, they need crash bags, frankly. But anyway, okay. So who lost last week? Oh, last time was
who could it be?
Who could it be? Oh, yeah, but your blockade runner put in a noble effort. I mean, any other day it would have been up and winning the episode, but it was just
the smallest of the Russian dolls.
Yeah, the smallest of the Russian dolls. It was just bad luck that time.
Yes,
and it didn't crash into anything, which was also a good point.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to with my one. So, yeah, didn't avoid Africa. Anyway, right, so
as per usual, I'm coming first. Oh, that came out wrong.
You might want to have to see a doctor to get that looked at, mate.
Yeah, I find holding just behind the head helps. It's the niche watch.
Yes, we're back to that again, aren't we?
Anyway.
Shall I take us to more wholesome climes?
Yes, go on in.
You can try. We've got Eureka coming up in this episode, so it's not going to last.
Yeah. Yes.
Go on in.
The NSEA Protector, folks.
Yes. Never give up. Never surrender.
Never surrender. Yes.
Never give up. Never surrender.
I couldn't possibly take another Trek ship because I know that would annoy Lee, so I've gone for the next best thing.
Yeah.
Galaxy Quest's The Protector NTE 3120.
Which actually stands for Not the Enterprise.
Exactly. Is an Evolution heavy cruiser built by the Thermians, who based its design on the historical documents of the exploits of the crew, as led by Peter, Quincy, Taggart.
Good points. Yeah, get points for that.
He was assisted by the ship's advisor, Dr. by Grabthar's Hammer Lazarus of the Mactar, computer specialist Tawny Madison, pilot Laredo, and my personal favourite, Tech Sergeant Chen. Tech Sergeant Chen.
And Guy.
She's equipped with a quantum flux drive, powered by a beryllium sphere, a transporter, a digital conveyor, and, of course, the mysterious Omega-13 device capable of reversing time for 13 seconds. That might come in handy for plot purposes.
Yes.
She also has a saucer set of sorts, with the bridge becoming a detachable support craft. She's armed with both red and blue particle cannons, Gannet magnets, whatever the hell they are, pulse catapults, which sound really pathetic, and quantum quantum rockets. The model was designed by the legendary Jeff Walters, based upon a tennis racket that tragically met its end, dented on the net. Or at least that's what the fictional wiki for the series will have you believe, whereas actually, of course, it's another ILM triumph, cunningly evoking the Enterprise without becoming legally actionable. Once their crew of washed-out TV stars finally get their act together, she was instrumental in saving the Thermians from the evil Saris Dominion, gaining some new crew members along the way, including the awesome Guy Fleegman, and picking up a new TV series in the process.
Nice.
Hey, Galaxy Quest, in case you haven't watched it, and if you haven't, where have you been? Is arguably the best Star Trek film ever.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit that. But yes, go on.
Did you just mic drop?
I did mic drop, yeah.
In terms of size, and this is slightly annoying, she's 441 metres, which is just shy of 5, so
yes.
And 4. Boo!
Okay.
Another 9 metres, ridden with 5, but there we are.
Okay.
Speed. This is where we're into slightly more dodgy areas. I mean, we could assume she's the same as the Enterprise.
Yes.
Since that's clearly what she's aping, in which case she gets a 5 for sublight. Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
I think we can pretty much take as read it's a Trek ship for most of the unknown moments. Yes.
Oh, that's quite helpful then, because for fast and light, it gets 2 for warp. Quantum flux drive.
Yep.
Maneuverability.
Yeah.
Laredo had some difficulty steering to begin with, but I don't think the ship can be blamed for that. It's just he didn't know what the hell he was doing. So if we go with the Enterprise refit for 3,
I would. Do you know what? I'm gonna say I think you would have. I'd give it a little bit higher than that, simply because that whole thing when he zips through those mines, that takes some serious maneuverability.
It was more defiant levels of maneuverability, I'd say.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I would say I would give it a 4.
Yay! Thank you.
just because.
Also, I by all means shout this down, but 9 meters. I'm inclined to give it a 5 for size. It's near as makes no difference. 500 meters.
Yeah, fair enough. That's fine. I don't mind that. You can round that up. Yep. Okay. So that's 5 for size and 4 for maneuverability.
Okay.
Cool.
Firepower. Yes, I listed all those exciting weapons that we never ever get to see them use.
We hear
all
them
the firing
used.
goes on off screen.
Yeah. In typical original Trek style.
Well, yeah, pretty much. That's arguably what they're going for. We know it damages Saris's ship, but we don't actually see what sort of level of damage that is. I'd be tempted to tag it a little lower than the refit Enterprise, maybe with a reliance on 4, but that's completely guesswork on my part.
I'd be happy with that, to be honest. I know overall is generally if you don't have if you've got no frame of reference, it has to go down to the lowest denominator. But
it does list a load of weapons.
It lists a load of them, and it's so obviously aping Star Trek. I think if you went for 4, that's fine.
Okay, 4 it is. Okay, defense.
Defense, active 0.
Mm-hmm.
Passive, it has something called plasma shields. What they could be aping.
No idea. Couldn't possibly say.
It does. The ship does take a pounding, damaging the engines, but they don't seem to have any hull breaches. So
she does manage to survive a rather nasty scrape with a dry dock as well.
Yeah. Yes.
That would type the Enterprise B at least until next Tuesday. So
this is true.
So we go for Trek shields for that.
Yeah, I don't know, because the thing is there doesn't appear to be any shield and no indicator that the shields are actually doing anything. You literally see those mines bounce off the ship.
Yeah.
They don't even impact on the shield outside. They bounce off the ship and fall into the engines.
I would probably say 2 on that, because like Lee says, don't really see him do a huge amount.
Now 2 is normally
heavy armour.
Heavy armour. Well, you've got to argue at least that, haven't you? Because they don't get any hull breaches.
No.
So we're arguing plasma shields are pretty shit. So
yes, we don't, and we never even see them, deflect anything off. All the things actually hit the hull. They just don't damage the hull. So it's not exactly a great shielding system anyway.
Nope.
But anyway, there you go. Cool.
That's passive. So that takes us on to special. So I'm arguing for a 1 for the bridge separation.
Right. Cool.
The Omega 13 has got to be worth a point.
I think so, yes.
Because it does save their bacon.
We do not know what it does.
Yes, but you somehow managed to build it. What the hell?
Yep.
Anyway, let's not worry about the physics of this.
Yep.
Until we get to
the very
science,
definition of shut up, that's why, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes. I could be very cheeky and ask, as somebody suggested this to me, ask for an extra point as well for geeks providing guidance over the phone.
Oh, God, no. Based solely on recently us being advised on certain scoring we've done was not right, and their justification of that. No. That don't fly, my friend.
Yeah, I was going to say. Considering some of the geeks have been less than helpful in most cases.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's no.
They are pretty good geeks. They do help. They tell them.
Yeah, and that's how you can tell this was fiction. Of everything, that was the bit which told us it was fiction.
Okay, and they had immaculate internet back in the day. I think it was dial-up in those days, wasn't it?
Yes,
they're able to video conference with each other. It's like,
yeah. And when something was proven to actually exist, rather than just, I don't know.
They weren't all arguing with each other either.
Well, exactly. I was going to say it didn't immediately sort of pick the Vox up and immediately take a photograph of it and put it on the internet and say, "Well, see, I told you it was like this," and then explain it to their friend for like 20 minutes to go heart in your face.
Yeah. So, okay, 2 it is then.
2 it is, and all the fans have left. Anyway, yeah. Bye, listeners. Right. Okay. So crew. Size.
Apparently it's got a crew of 600, so that's comfortably a 5.
That's a 5, yep.
But then skill. Yeah, right. I mean, arguably the crew win by getting very lucky in using the Omega-13, otherwise they'd all be dead. The Thermians are so useless they need to turn to washed-up TV stars to help them. And whilst the stars of Galaxy Quest eventually display, a decent amount of pluck, I'm not sure skill is a word I'd associate with them, really.
No.
We're looking at a 2 at best, I think, for that.
Yeah. It's a rock monster. Can you form some kind of rudimentary lathe? It's not the greatest advice I've ever heard, to be honest.
No.
To be fair, though, given some of the stuff that was suggested in Star Trek, it was up there.
Yeah. Beam it up. It was inside out, and it exploded.
To be fair, you could almost argue 1 extra point for the fucking transporters on that thing.
Yeah.
It's still a hazard to everyone.
Yeah. I think
serious. I was just making a point where transporters are fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I would quite possibly do. I'd give them 2 at a push, but Andy?
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty damned incompetent. But that being said, they did manage to build this thing based solely off of watching it on the TV, and it worked. So, yeah, I'd say 2.
Which is more than most 3D forums have managed to do.
God, yeah.
Ooh, sick burn.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
There go the 3D designer listeners.
I mean, if nothing else, Dr. Lazarus alone gets to 2.
Yeah, exactly. Okie dokie.
Okay, so that's skill. So then, where we are, realization.
Yeah, exterior.
Well, I'm going to argue this is as good as Trek gets. To be honest, I mean, it's ILM's best.
You're not going to get any argument.
Trek.
Yeah, I think so too. You're going to get no argument. I'll predict a 5, and you can have it, sir.
Yes.
Thank you kindly.
Yep.
And as far as the interior goes, arguably we see more of the interior of this ship than we see of the movie Enterprises. There are a load of ships for this, including the legendary Chompers, of course. And despite being primarily a comedy, they don't skimp on the production values. It's all very shiny and it looks huge. And I'd go for a 5, to be honest, on an interior.
Well, I'm just going to say this. Now, with our realization scores, partly it's how well are they realized, as it would suggest, how well are the sets made of this. But there's also how much do they make sense? And I believe you just mentioned
the Chompers. Yeah.
I cannot in good conscience go for a 5 with that stuff in there. I mean, they even reference it themselves. Like, what kind of a sadist puts this shit in here?
This makes no sense. This is a badly written episode.
Whoever wrote this should die.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's... I'm kind of of 2 minds. I'm basically saying if as far as the interior making sense, a lot of it's very good. It's very Trek, makes a lot of sense. But then you have bits like that. So I think if we take off 1 at least, put it at 4, I'd be happier. What do you reckon, Lee?
I mean, if you're talking about things making sense and things, I mean, I think it's better realised than most Trek interiors because you actually get to see A, the floor and the ceiling, B, the ceiling, and of course the doors open, and there's also things like airlocks, which actually appear to work. And then on top of that, it's a big ship, and it's a big ship because things fit. And I don't know. I mean, I do think, the Chompers are stupid, but that is kind of They are effectively
onto science though, rather than
I don't think it is onto science though, because
the only thing I would say which takes away from the chompers is the fact that the ability to shut down the auto destruct is behind them. I think, and the auto destruct itself doesn't actually stop until it hits 1.
Yeah, it's got that built in.
So based on that, I'd say 4 because that's okay.
It's just again, it's we've got to take into account not only how well is it realised, but does it make sense? Because otherwise, when we get to things like certain blue boxes, they can be fantastically well realised, but
very rarely.
Yeah, I mean the other thing is also I think I would have let the chompers go because it could be an interior of an engine that they're essentially walking through, but it's the fact that there's an actual sort of self-destruct cancelling button behind it.
Yeah.
That's that's kind of it.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay.
So 4, excellent.
Yeah.
And science. Now, Trek normally gives us a 4. But, I mean, the Omega 13 is wacky even for Trek.
Yeah.
So it would definitely at least 3, at most 3, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing...
It doesn't do anything too impossible, but there's plenty of very silly things like the Omega 13.
The other thing also is the fact that it does actually have the conservation of energy in terms of, and conservation of momentum in terms of they've just come out of a black hole at full pelt and then separated, and the ship separates, and the little tiny shuttle has no ability to basically veer out of the way of a humongous planet because it's just travelling far too fast. So yeah,
it probably should have just shot straight through the planet, to be honest.
Yeah. In fairness, it should have just, as soon as it hit the atmosphere, it would have just like burnt the atmosphere up at the speed it was moving. But yeah,
I mean, the thing is with it's kind of stymied by its main contrivance being that it is taking the mick out of the completely inaccurate and lack of making sense science from the show, but these aliens have somehow managed to make it work, and that's kind of...
You could argue they've made it so. Sorry. I'll get my coat.
Yeah.
As I was saying, I'd be in the 2 to 3 sort of range for the science, just because one of the main points of the film is just how it makes no sense to science. I mean, even the ferment, the way they kind of change between their natural forms and their human skins and stuff like that. It's... They don't even make any attempt to explain it, and that's part of the joy of the film. From being the pedantic kind of getting deep into the minutiae podcast that we are, kind of goes a bit against that, So
yeah,
I will defer to your judgment, Lee, but I would be leaning on the low 3, high 2 sort of marks.
I mean, I think 3 is probably about where it's at, to be honest. Just because there's things like wormholes which are scientifically possible, but things like floating brick monsters is well off the fucking range. But that's not actually the ship.
Yeah, that's not the ship. That's yeah.
So yeah, I think 3's about right because there's a lot about it that does actually work. But the Omega 3 would probably have been a sort of knocked off 2 points on its own. But again, the question is, Omega 3, did it come with the ship?
Wait, it was part of the ship. They built it because it was in the ship. Yeah,
they didn't find it somewhere and then install it. They
without
somehow knowing how it worked.
No, but that was the thing.
Or even what it did.
Yeah, but that was the thing. In the film, they say that in the historical documents they find the Omega 13 in an episode.
Ah, yeah, but that's the fictional TV series. We're talking about the reality of the Thermians and the film. That's kind of the reality.
Fair enough. Well, there you go. Damn it.
Boxes.
One day I'm going to get that working, that rule, and I will feel vindicated. I will walk away from the Reliant problem forever, feeling like a happy man. Anyway, right, cool factor.
Cool factor. This film is cool. This ship is cool. I'm giving it 4.
Okay, 4. Andy?
If I could give it 4, I would, but I can't, so I'll give it 3.
Ditto. So 10 for cool, There you go.
You don't see that from me every day.
No, we don't. There you go. The NSEA Protector, a ship which, strangely enough, in typical Pete fashion, does end up crashing into a car park.
But it does it with style.
I'm improving.
yeah, exactly. Has managed to get 53 points, which doesn't quite get it. It doesn't quite get it into the top 10, but it's certainly in the top 20.
How did that do compared to the refit?
Hold on, let me just.
It was just 3 points shy. I kind of would have been really happy if it got the same points as the refit.
Nice, yeah. Hold on, yeah.
There would have been a certain symmetry there, but it would have been quite pleasing.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Well, it's the Omega-13. That's part of it, isn't it? Yeah. The refit didn't have that, funnily enough.
At least not as far as we know. And if it did, they never mentioned it.
Yes.
Okay, well, there you go. So that's the NSEA Protector done and dusted, which is cool. And now it's time to move on to our second ship. Andy?
Oh, yes. Well, as Peter was true to form and brought something that crashed, I am true to form and I brought a flying brick.
Huzzah.
So, the UNSC Pillar of Autumn, or Bricky McBrickface if you prefer, was a Halcyon-class light cruiser of the UNSC Navy, first featured in Halo Combat Evolved from all the way back in 2001. Do you feel old yet?
Very. Very.
The Pillar of Autumn was constructed in 2507 and launched in 2510 from Mars. See, she set as a family with the Galaxy-class Enterprise.
Oh, very nice.
Yes. Maybe they were sisters or some shit like that. Oh, actually, 2510, that's 200 years after Next Gen?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Wow. There must have been one of those wars at some point where they reverted back to using sticks and stones and had to work their way back up to space.
I was going to say, they lost their compass where you can draw curves.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Anyway, where was I? Yes. The Halcyon-class cruisers' service life was short due to their unique hull design, which was very costly to construct and maintain, with low manoeuvrability and concerns about their tactical viability. The ships were, however, refitted later in the Human Covenant War, and one in particular, the Pillar of Autumn, proved to be the most effective and costly ships deployed during the war. Now, one of the special things about Halcyon-class cruisers was the way they were built, which is a lot of technical jargon. I'm not going to go into it here, but basically it was made of a lot of honeycomb sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But the main point of this was that the ship could take massive, massive damage. It could remain operational despite sustaining breaches to all compartments and losing 90% of its armour. The durability of the design was demonstrated when the UNSC Pillar of Autumn survived crash landing on the Alpha Halo after taking a tremendous beating both at reach and over the ring. The Halo ring, not any other sort of rings. You dirty people take your minds out of your gut.
Yeah, a small child coming out of a well, walking through exactly. A TV. Yeah.
That would be quite terrifying, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway, where was I? Yes. The armaments on these ships. These are ships of war.
Yes.
The primary weapon on the Pillar of Autumn Halcyon-class cruisers was the Mac gun. It's a massive, magnetically accelerated cannon, basically a railgun.
Yes.
A lot like what we see in things like Mass Effect.
It's the mass drivers from Babylon 5 as well.
Yes, exactly. They accelerate large chunks of metal to various percentage points of light speed, and Newtonian physics being what they are, they tend to keep going until they stop. Make sure you hit what you're aiming at, or you're going to ruin someone's day. If not today and not tomorrow, a million years in the future, but someone's day will be ruined. In addition, they are equipped with Archer missile pods, anti-ship missiles. The Pillar of Autumn contained 300 missile pods, each with 26 missiles, equating 7,800 missiles in total. She was also armed with Shiva nuclear warheads and 3 Havoc warheads. To give you context of a Havoc warhead, a Havoc warhead had a variable yield setting. One on its own could destroy a Covenant ship once it was inside the shields. And one was used to destroy a section of the Halo ring, completely vaporizing a section which was some 318 kilometers. So that's
That made me giggle because Havoc provided these stuntmen for Doctor Who in the 70s. And so I've got images of men leaping out of the ship now and doing backflips, which they're kind of famous for.
Oh, so you have played Halo?
Yeah. Interestingly, the just because I did a little bit of research on this stuff, I mean, it's basically got the equivalent of a 30 megaton yield each bomb, which is kind of similar to the Tsar bomb or the Tsar bomb, which supposedly is the biggest nuclear bomb the world has ever seen, but has never been tried because it could. Everyone's
they
worried.
were somewhat worried that if they did it, it might ignite the atmosphere.
Yes,
which would have been bad.
Yeah,
be a bummer. Yeah,
it would be. Yeah. She also has 8 docking bays equipped with a number of Pelican dropships, longsword fighter interceptors, M12 Warthogs, M808B main battle tanks, and various other ground offensive.
And not a single soldier that could fly any of them in a straight fucking line without bumping into a rock.
It's a fair point, well made, but that comes under competence, and that comes later. In addition, the Autumn carried 2 Spartan 2s on her fateful final mission. The Spartans being the near demigod super soldiers of the UNSC, of who the protagonist, the Master Chief, is. And these are basically soldiers designed to single-handedly take down entire Covenant warships without really breaking a sweat, which was impressive. The Autumn was equipped with experimental reactor architecture with 1 primary reactor and 2 secondary reactors. Just a little safety tip here. Do not open the thermal port covers and then throw grenades into those. No. Because your ship will auto-destruct at that point. It's an important safety tip.
Things will go bad very quickly.
Very badly, yeah. The ship was also equipped with a Shaw Fukujawa Trans-Light engine for slip space drive, which is kind of, think Battlestar Galactica-y sort of jump stuff.
Yeah, point-to-point jumping.
Yes. The ship was not designed for atmospheric deployment. However, when coupled with R7 thruster couplings, it did allow it limited atmospheric operations, i.e. it could land and take off, which is actually one of the coolest cutscenes in all of Halo Reach, and I highly recommend you check it out if you get a chance.
I have to say, it floated in the air exactly the same way that bricks don't.
It did. But this was a brick with a massive fucking engine on it.
It's one yellow paint job away from a Vorlon's constructor ship, to be honest.
To be fair, that's not too far off. In addition to all of that, she also, she had a crew of about 2,500, including a Marine battalion and an ODST battalion. So that's a lot of ground troops for stuff like that. A little bit of behind the scenes. It was designed by Lorraine McLess, who took inspiration from the M85B assault rifle that was used in the game and images from a Mobile Suit Gundam animes. She described the Autumn as essentially being a big gun with engines. So from the James Cameron School of Spaceship Design.
Yep.
I was going to say, I wouldn't have been surprised if they said they took inspiration from the Sulaco, but then that might have been got them in legal hot water.
Yes, you can't say that, but you can say you took inspiration from the same thing they did.
It also took inspiration from the looks of it from the Agamemnon's front end that they replicated 3 times up.
Yes, it's just concentric hexagons getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Pillar of Autumn was approximately 1.17 kilometres long, a reference to John 117. The ship's length is, however, exaggerated in the final length of Combat Evolved to nearly 3 kilometres, likely to add a sense of urgency and suspense. Yeah, we'll come to that when we come to interior realisation.
Market 0.
Oh, I don't think it's quite that bad. It's not far off, but it's not quite that bad. But yes. So that is the Pillar of Autumn. Again, just to mention very briefly, she was first featured in Halo Combat Evolved in 2001, but has subsequently been featured both in Halo Reach and the remastered edition of Combat Evolved.
Yes.
Which was a lot better looking than Halo. Halo was one of those weird games where when they did the special edition and I started playing it, I was like, well, this isn't any different from how it was when I played it before. Until you press that button where you can go and see what it looked like in 2001.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you know that bit from the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark when you open the Ark?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. So, shall we get on with marking this thing?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so Let's go for
So
size.
Size is 1.17 kilometres.
Which makes
So
that
that
a
is-
big fat 10.
A big fat 10, yes.
Yes. Cool. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Now.
Sublight, yeah, she's a brick. Bricky McBrickface in terms of speed as well. So on Sublight, I'm just going to ask for 1.
And you shall have it, sir, because I was going to say, there's no reference to how fast it really goes. You just
The only time you really see it doing anything with any gusto is at the beginning of Halo 2 and at the end of Halo Reach, when you see it running away. Run away!
Yeah.
But,
and at the beginning of Halo 1, where it basically crashes into a mountain, crashes into
To be
a
fair, in
humongous
Halo 1,
ring.
it's going a lot slower than it really... It's kind of like buying time. But yeah, we'll just go over 1.
Cool.
FTL, though, again, we're slipstream drives. For reading up on it, the biggest limitation of a slipstream drive effectively is, it's the navigation stuff, as we've seen with things like Star Wars and Battlestar and everything like that. But also, strangely on this one, is the time inside on the ship moves at a different rate to outside.
Yes.
So externally, you could be almost instantaneously jumping, but on board the ship, you could have up to like several weeks have passed.
Yeah,
and getting from point A to point B.
Didn't they nick that from? Not nick, but homage that from the was it Stephen King short The Jaunt?
It's entirely possible. I have not read The Jaunt.
Okay,
So
the long and the short of it being that you get put to sleep when you go through these jaunt portals, which are essentially sort of warp gates between planets, and this kid decides, after hearing the story about how they were invented, essentially decides to hold his breath. And then when his parents come out the other end and wake up after having a successful jaunt that seems instantaneous, finding that their kid has gone completely insane because he has spent, relatively to his head, has spent like 16,000 years between 2 points.
It doesn't say it's that bad. The longest example I found through stuff I was reading up on was 6 months. But that was, again, that's relative on the ship. So on the ship, we'll experience 6 months, but it's instantaneous from the outside. So I think that comes... Should we say that's a... What do we give Battlestar ones? 4, is it?
4, yeah.
I think that's a 4 because it's pretty much instantaneous, but it's not like completely without issue.
Yes.
It can cause issues.
I'm happy with that.
And manoeuvrability, that's a big fat 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're doing
Bricky
well with 1.
McBrickface.
Indeed. Cool. Okay.
Okay.
Let's move on to weapons.
Weapons, a bit better on. Again, she packs a bit of a punch. She's in no way the most impressive ship that the UNSC can field, but the Mac gun herself, if the shields weren't there, so one of the things the Autumn has, it's been designed to actually fire 3 slugs at once as opposed to 1. The idea being the first to bash through the shields of the Covenant ship, allowing the third one to actually go in and tear it up. And during the battle of the Halo ring, she took out, I believe, 4 of the Covenant ships. And those Covenant ships have equivalent of Trek shields.
Yes.
They're pretty heavy duty. In addition, she's got the 7,800 Archer missiles, and again, those can instantaneously take down the smaller Covenant ships, so things like the frigates and stuff like that. She's got a lot of those. I mean, the thing is I think the Halo ships, if they were up against equivalent levels of technology, would one-shot everything. If you put a Halo ship up against, say, the Galactica is slag. It's just the Covenant ships are just so much more powerful in universe, so you don't get that sense of them there. Plus, we have the Havoc warheads on board, which, again, that vaporized like half of the Halo ring. That's a pretty big fucking boom.
That is a big boom, but in the case of the Havocs, and in case because you see one with the Master Chief jumping out and carrying one down to the, I'm going to bring it to them.
That's the Covenant's bomb.
Yeah.
That's not a Havoc, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but it's an equivalent, isn't it? And essentially, the thing that kind of stops this from getting what I think you're going to ask, which is a one-shot Capaldin ship, kind of score, is the fact that they do have to take out the shields in all cases, they can't just one shot. They have to take the shields down, and then the next bullet will come in and do the job. They're not. It's kind of weird. What I was going to say is, I know you're going to go for a 10. I know that's probably what you're after, but I would mark it to a 9 simply because it isn't always guaranteed to take a ship down in one shot. You need to take the shields out, and if that doesn't happen,
I get what you're saying, and you're right. But I think this comes back to something we were talking about with the Donninger, where, I said earlier, the Covenant ships are so technologically advanced. It's the equivalent of taking the NX-01 Enterprise and putting it up against a Dederedext Warbird.
Yeah.
That's the kind of level of technology. Now, you can take the NX-01 as itself as being a very competent and very powerful ship for the time period it exists in. You know, It's the best thing the humans could put out there. But it's just suddenly massively outclassed. A better example, I tell you what, would be if we took something like, say the Enterprise D.
Yes.
Better example here. Enterprise D could pretty much take on anything that comes up against it. Up until the point you put it up against something like a Borg cube. And all of a sudden, all that power is for naught because you've got something that's outside of your league.
Yeah.
I just think that the amount of firepower the Autumn can bring to a battle, if it was an equal battle, so if you put her up against another ship of equal technological standings, she'd one-shot. You put it up against a Galactica, it'll one-shot the Galactica. You put it up against anything out of Mass Effect from the human side, it'll one-shot them.
Yeah.
It's just that the enemies it has in the Halo ones, which, and again, the whole point of Halo stories is they're on the losing end of a war against a massively technologically superior enemy. It can't do it in those instances.
Our problem is that we haven't stated. It says one shot takes out a capital ship, but we haven't actually stated what the capital ship is.
That is an excellent point you have made there, Peter, and that is maybe when we have our next podcast soon. Maybe, and seriously, that is something we should probably do. We should have our proxy ship and say, can it one shot this thing? Because as you say, I mean, we saw it with the Donninger. The Donninger could one shot a ship like the Anubis, but the Anubis is not exactly anything overly special. You put the Donninger up against something like the Enterprise, it's going to be slag in 30 seconds.
Yeah. I think the thing is, in the case of the way we've done it so far, it tends to be examples within the reference universe. So if you're in Star Trek and you one shot a capital ship, you're really talking about a Trek ship slagging a Trek ship. If you talk about, like, you know, the Death Star, you know, wiping out a planet, you're not talking about planets in another universe. You're talking about the ones that in Star Wars. I know what you're saying. I absolutely agree as well, because there's obviously the weapons are of a level, but the problem is the enemy they're up against is of a completely different level. However,
but we're not rating the enemies in this.
No.
Yeah,
I know. I do get it. I'm just trying to work it out. I'm not trying to downvote your score. I mean, if you want 10, I'm not going to really argue, to be honest.
Well, I mean, it sounds like a 10 to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's just. I think if we go down the route of saying it's up against really strong enemies, so we never see it fight anything else, and then say, but if it fought something else,
on our
we
matrix, so 9 is like city leveling, isn't it?
Yes.
So 9 is city leveling. Well, I think it's. I mean, it's got those havoc things, and that'll destroy a city like that. That's not an issue at all. And what level did we get to when we started saying things were? I mean, and one basically, if you could repeatedly blow up, you know, keep shooting at a planet, multi-shot on a planet was 13, right? Yeah. I mean, I just think if we take away calling it one-shotting a capital ship, I think a 10 is where this is, just because I think it's more powerful than city leveling 9, but I don't think it's anywhere in the levels of something like
a shadow ship, which
a shadow
cuts through
ship,
everything.
or it couldn't destroy a planet no matter how hard it tried. You know, it's just like you couldn't. It could not put enough firepower down on that planet to do that. So that's
let's go with a 10 then.
Okay, 10's good. I mean, like I say, I'm not really arguing whether or not it should have a 10.
No, it's just trying to understand where are we sitting with.
Again, it's as you say, it's like it's almost a pubcast discussion. It's kind of like you know, if you're comparing it again, you have to kind of compare it against ships within its own universe. But then if you do that, then it comes out weaker than the ship that it would, if it was to fight something from a different universe, it would
I think
instantly
Peter's
win.
onto something. We need to have our.
We need to say one-shot the Enterprise D or something like that.
Yeah, we need to have a ship that we say, right, if it's shot at this ship, could it one-shot it? And if it's a yes, right, that's fine. We know where we stand then.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
I think that's
fair
what we want.
Okay, that's cool.
So we will. I'll tell you what. Maybe that's something we'll do on the Facebook. We'll put it out for suggestions.
The guideline ship, the control ship. Pardon the phrasing.
We need a control ship. We could probably do with a control ship for a few of these categories. So that's something we'll come to. Later on.
Yeah,
excellent thinking there, Pete. Well done.
The guideline ship. Yep. Cool.
Okay. So for defense on the active side. Well, she has 50mm point defense guns with overlapping fields of fire. So that's one. I'd also like to claim one for Cortana because she's designed as
cyber warfare, isn't she?
She is fully equipped for cyber warfare and designed to raise havoc with enemy computers and infrastructures and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
she's doing an excellent job in my Windows 10, to be honest.
Yes. Yeah, she's achieved sentience, and they got the name wrong in Terminator. It's not Skynet you need to worry about, it's Cortana.
Cortana, yeah. Cortana on Windows 10 is doing me a right number, and and of course Cortana turns up on Windows phones, which seem to endlessly crash as well. So yeah.
Be careful, because if you say it one more time, she will appear.
Yeah, right behind. Well, that wouldn't be too bad. Anywho, Slash Fiction number 101. Anyway, right. Go on in. So
okay, now for defense, again, as I mentioned, the whole point the Halcyon class cruisers was they were just meant to be pretty much fucking indestructible. She could operate with every compartment exposed to space and 90% of her armor stripped away, and still continue to operate, still bring the fight. And again, she crashed on the Halo ring, and quite frankly, I think a lick of paint sort of thing, and a couple of those rocket pods, and she'd have been absolutely fine. But that's what it is. Now, I don't think 5, because obviously 5 is indestructible, and she was destroyed. But I think 4, although she doesn't have Trek shields or perfect shields or anything like that, she is literally a flying fucking brick of armor. It's like that's all it is about her. Her whole point of being was.
I know exactly what you're aiming for. I mean, it's because literally, even after being shot at, destroyed, smashed up, blown up, fired at, and then doing a sort of Mach 10 dive into the atmosphere of a world and smashing across several different things, it's still in a position.
It's
where
also
you could
worth just telling very briefly is she doesn't have any energy shields like the Covenant do. The Covenant ships can slag planets. I mean, they do that. That's one of the things they do. They blast the planets, and she can survive hits from those. Not an infinite number, but she can take a hit.
Yeah. I mean, hold on. Let me have a look at the scoring on this. I mean, what was that? Shields, defense. I mean, 4 is Trek shields, and to be quite honest, a good equivalent. It's actually a good equivalent, interesting equivalent, because when the Enterprise E went, why did the Enterprise E go up the mountain? The Enterprise D go up the mountain. When it went into the mountain, and when the Enterprise E went straight into Shinzon's ship, slow knife through slow shields, I mean, in both cases they kind of took a colossal amount of damage, and essentially was still in a situation where you thought, okay, it's bad, but at no point would you be throwing it away. You'd just try and recover it. And I think the Pillar of Autumn is in that same category. So I don't think a 4's out of the realms of possibility, to be honest.
I think if you took, again, just say the Enterprise D, and you fired one of those Covenant beams at it, I think it would very quickly overwhelm the shields, because we've seen it, how many times is Worf sitting there going, shields down to 13%, 15, 5,
1.
Shields are gone, Captain. Shake once left, shake once right, boom.
Yeah.
I think very quickly that's what would happen, whereas I think with the Autumn, it would take the hit, but it would lose a ton of armor, but it would be like, I'm still functional.
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to give Pete a bit of context here. I mean, because the thing is, in the case of the Enterprise D, when it loses all its shields, it gets an explosion behind it, smashes into a mountain. You still get the feeling that if there was a secondary hull, you could lift the primary hull up and drop it back, primary saucer section, put it back on the secondary hull, and it would still fly off. And with maybe putting the seats back in place and maybe repairing the big flat
Yeah,
screen.
it's going to need a lick of paint. It's going to buff out.
Yeah.
I think what we're saying is that for 4 now, then with 3 we've got shit shields or very heavy armor, and for 4 we've got Trek shields or very very heavy armor.
I guess it's almost like it's very I don't know, how can you put it, structural integrity, I guess. I don't
well, it's
all
just,
armor.
one of the things with it is, and I can actually send you a picture which is very boring, but I will send it nonetheless, is all
I was going to...
Got to be an improvement to the Slanishi pictures that are currently sitting
It's true. So this is actually a picture of how the interior structure is, and it's this massive honeycomb structure.
Nice.
The idea being...
The bees!
Yeah, well, it literally is. It's this massive honeycomb structure, because the idea being, if you cut through the outer layer of armor, there's another layer of armor, which you then cut through, and there's another. You don't actually get to anything vital until you've cut through about 4 or 5 different layers of 2 meter thick titanium armor, or whatever they call it. It's again, and this is from the wiki. Every compartment exposed to vacuum and 90% of the armor stripped away, and it would still be operational. Now, if you exposed every compartment on the Enterprise D and took away 90% of its structural integrity, it would be a flying dust cloud.
Yeah, I mean, I take your point, and I'm trying to think how we best word this, because obviously this is one of those milestone moments where we say yes to this, and then 5 minutes later we'll say, well, we did say yes to this. I mean,
yeah,
we gave Pegasus 3, didn't we? Because Pegasus is very heavy; she could take a hell of a pounding.
Yeah, but that's the difference, isn't it? She took a pounding, but like bits then started falling off, and then eventually she was inoperable by about halfway through. As you said, the Pillar of Autumn, the Enterprise D, the Enterprise E, they took damage which would have, in any other ship, would have completely destroyed it. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm trying to work out how to best word it. It's like I say, special structural integrity or something like that.
Flying tank.
Yeah, but flying tank doesn't always work either, because you kind of say, you can literally say that of the Ishimura. You could say that of you could even say that of the Falcon. I mean, the Falcon comes out at light speed and goes straight into the Starkiller base and bounces off the floor. And
so you just reminded me, there's actually a funny video. I think it's how it should have ended.
Yeah,
we do that.
Right.
You say, but there won't even be enough time for you to splat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, boink. I mean, Defiant is another good example. It takes a massive, massive pounding and still keeps on going. So, yeah, I mean, from that basis, I say 4 is fine. I'm just trying to be sure that we're not opening ourselves up to a sort of a day of going, well, actually, that one's got some decent structural integrity. So's that one. So's that one.
There's always the pub.
There's always the pub.
There will always be the pub.
I get what you're saying, but I would just say again, even within the world of Halo, the whole reason the Pillar of Autumn was brought back into service was because she was nigh on indestructible. It was there's newer ships, there's more powerful ships, but they chose to use the Autumn for the mission for which the Spartans were assigned, because she could just take a repeated pounding. It was a unique honeycomb design, and that was why they were insanely costly. Of the 50 ships of the class built, only 10 had that armor configuration, just because it cost too damn much. Because it was insanely stupid.
Okie dokie. Well,
4 it is.
4 it is, after all that.
Yeah. 10 minutes of arguing for exactly the same score.
Well, exactly. I don't think it was arguing. I think it's just the fact that we just have to be
clarifying.
careful. I think the problem is, we've been burnt by too many things of just going, yeah, that's fine. No, that's wrong. And then coming back and going, well, we gave that 5. And it's like, oh, shit. So, anyway.
But as Pete mentions, the pub will do this. And if you want to mark it as one for us to reference at the pub, we can do that at the time as well.
No. Well, but, yeah. I think that's solid. I think that's fair. But I just wanted to be sure that we were all on the same page. Okay, go on in. Special.
Well, as far as the special goes, we've got a massive onboard military.
Yes.
I would actually ask for a separate special for the Spartans, because you've got your Marines, your ODST, and then you've got the Spartans. I mean, the Spartans on their own are designed to take down Covenant ships.
Yeah, they're like a completely different special troop division. Like this, it's like having an aircraft carrier with a division of SAS. You wouldn't count those in with the normal Marines. Yeah,
exactly. They are something. As a frame of reference, Pete, think 40k Space Marines, but just not as big. And without the attachment to salination, stuff like that.
Yeah, and there's no penis hands.
Exactly. Thank fuck for that.
Anyway.
Can I... Controversial, cheeky, and feel free to slap me down and say no, but another special for Cortana. I've already had her for the ECM stuff, but again, she's one of the smart AIs. The smart AIs are designed to...
Yeah, but hold on, hang on. Hang about. You can't have that both ways. I mean, she's an electronic countermeasure, or she is a special that is doing essentially electronic countermeasures.
Okay, I was just putting it out there.
I know. I'm not, and again, I applaud your cheek, sir. But I say no. The line must be drawn here.
You don't score one for each booby.
No, yeah.
to be fair, it wouldn't be for the boobies on Cortana. There's a lot of back end shots, and that's all I'm saying there. Anyway, I think that was
again a lot of cheek.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are we up to now then?
Crew.
The crew.
The actual crew on board, 2,500 was the number I could find. I couldn't find the exact splits between what are Marines and what are ODSTs and stuff like that. But
we don't count the combat stuff, do we?
No, we don't count the combat stuff, but I couldn't find any numbers on what the combat stuff was. All I could find was a crew of 2,500.
How many Marines do you know? How many are in a platoon? I can't remember because
it's a battalion is between 300 and 1,000.
See, so the best you can have is 2,200, and the worst you can have is 1,500.
Exactly.
That's still 6, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't that sort of at the point where we're in a kind of range where it doesn't matter?
Yeah, I don't think it particularly matters.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it's because it's between 1,000 and 2,500. So so it's still a 6. Whichever way. Yeah, that's handy.
We designed that really well, didn't we?
that got us out of something, didn't it?
Yeah,
just as planned. Yes. Yeah.
Competence.
Competence.
It's all gone very quiet.
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
Can I put forward what I think?
You by all means, yeah.
I mean, I think a 3. Now, the reason I think a 3 is because Cortana, absolutely on her own, it's fine. And in terms of, Spartan 117, absolutely, no problem. The problem comes about when you get to Commander Keyes and his amazing plan of, well, what can we do? I know. Master Chief, take my AI that's controlling my ship. I'm going to smash this ship into the planet in front of me, instead of, I don't know, stand and fight, run away, any of the other things that he could possibly do. His first thoughts are, see that big ring there? I'm going to smash straight into that, and I'm going to give my AI, rather than wipe the AI if it's that sort of super precious, give it to my soldier. One soldier. I'm going to send him off. Then I'm going to smash into this planet, which I'm also sending my soldier down to.
Now, I get what you're saying, but I'm going to have to get into a little bit of the stuff that goes on in the books here. A little bit of minutiae.
Oh, here we go. Star Wars Legends.
No, these are actually canon according to Microsoft. And the guy who wrote the first one, and I think the second one as well, actually writes the a lot of the stuff for the Halos itself, basically. Keyes was enacting what was called the Cole Protocol, because in the Halo universe, the Covenant don't actually know where Earth is. And the only people which actually know where Earth is, in terms of on the ships, are the shipboard AIs. Now, Cortana was actually designed for... she was full of... firstly, the AIs are insanely expensive. The smart AIs cost more than the ships do. So it was a bigger investment than, say, the Pillar of Autumn itself. And she was actually being commissioned for a mission to capture one of the Covenant prophets. And that's what the Spartans were actually doing on the ship. The Pillar of Autumn's original mission was to jump into the middle of the High Charity fleet. High Charity is the Covenant city in space, built out of a planet. It's confusing. But the Pillar of Autumn was supposed to jump into that fleet, hold off the Covenant ships, while the Spartan strike team would board the High Charity and kidnap some of the prophets to try and force an end to the war. Now, Cortana took them to the Halo Ring for reasons. But basically, in doing so, Keyes realised he couldn't complete his mission and was outgunned by the ships because the fleet from Reach followed him and there was already a fleet waiting for him there because the Covenant ships are a lot faster. So he had to remove the AI or destroy it, as you say, but he wanted to see if this could be salvaged, and he also wanted to know what the ring was. So he gave it to 117 to protect it, to take it down there. He then decided to try and soft land the ship because he wanted to try and buy the crew and the escape pods a chance to get away without being shot down, because the Covenant were actually targeting the escape pods as they were being launched in the first game. So he decides to what film is it? Oh no, it's not a film. He decided to Battlestar Galactica it, the original series, where he went straight down the middle of them to try and divert all the fire and to buy everyone else a bit of a chance to get away. And he still managed to land a thing which really wasn't supposed to land there. So while I take your point that,
well, he didn't.
If you're just watching it, it looks silly.
Well, he didn't manage.
There was reason.
Yeah, well, he didn't actually manage to land it because what happened was Cortana left him with a landing solution. All he had to do was press a button.
But the ship itself was, the ship itself would fly itself, but he and whoever remained on board, sort of thing, got the ship down. I'm not saying he did that, but I'm just saying he wasn't doing stupid stuff for stupid reasons. It wasn't, I don't know what to do, I'm just going to go flying in the middle of them. I'm just saying there was reasons behind it. I mean, there's an entire bloody book about it. There's a couple of books about it. I can't go into all of it because it's very long, it's very boring. I've not read the book in a while. But all I'm saying is he wasn't being an incompetent, for the sake of plot, incompetent soldier. Keyes in the fluff and all this is actually viewed as one of the better commanders in the UNSC. He actually was involved in the Spartan project at the very beginning. And the whole reason he was assigned to I think it was called Operation Red Flag, which was the mission to capture the prophets, was because he was so well respected and viewed as a solid commander who could do that sort of stuff.
Right. Cool.
All I'm saying is I'd probably be pegging it at a 4. I'm not saying that the crew in any way are fucking genius ones and all this, but I think they're slightly better than average. And someone go and kick Peter.
Yeah,
I can't help you here.
No. I mean, I do take your point. I don't know. Well, you've got. I've got no frame of reference when it comes to the books. Absolutely none. But
if you want to go for an albatross moment, I can link you.
No, I don't really. Honestly, no.
You don't care that much.
I have to say, you've defeated me with just words. Yeah,
I did the Quark defense.
Yeah, you did the Chewbacca defense. Right, okay. I'll tell you what. I'll give you the 4. I'll give you the 4, but I still have a sneaky suspicion that someone on the Facebook group will listen and go, no, give it a 3 because reasons, and then stuff.
Well, like I said, mark it grey. We will.
No, it's cool. I mean, I just yeah. The only members of the crew you get to see are a suicidal captain, an AI that gets taken out of the ship, and a soldier. In the
game, in the book, there were a lot more members of the crew.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I know it's out of the book, but I mean that's just where you get a lot more of the side story that's going on alongside the main thing.
Cool. Okay. Well, you get the 4. I mean, like I say, Pete's got no way of helping me on this one, so I'm just let's do this. Just go for it. So what about the exterior?
I'm only going to ask for 3.
Good.
It's the brickiest brick that ever brick to brick. And while in Halo 1 it looks rough as fuck, that is largely down to 2001 Xbox bloody graphics. It looks a whole lot better in Halo Reach. And I like bricks. So I'll ask for 3.
I'm going to buy you a bag of Lego for your birthday.
Awesome! I'm fucking winning.
Anyway, right, okay, go on in.
Lego.
Interior, here we go.
Yeah,
here we go.
I've seen the diagrams.
I'm not even going to fight. I'll just take the 1. I'll just take the 1.
You take that 1 and you like that 1. You have that 1.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, the interior of the interior of the Pillar of Autumn as a map.
Creative.
Yeah, as a map inside the game, which you play towards the end. Yeah, it's like 3 times the size of the exterior.
It literally, basically, in it's not only at the end of the game; it's the beginning bit when you have to get from the Prior Bay to a bridge. It will not, because you could. They made this mistake. They fell into a Peter mistake of showing you where the bridge is. When you've done that and you've got a visual reference between what's inside and outside, you can scale everything else. And because they did that, they realised that the interior layout was far too wide and far too forward for what's presented in the exterior.
Yep.
Furthermore, the final mission is this whole
run from the engines to the bridge,
driving along the spine of the ship to get away. It's like a bloody go-kart track, you know. It's 3 kilometers long on a 1 kilometer ship.
In Mario Kart.
It is. It's got jumps. It's got some slalom stages. There's some bloody tunnels.
It's a beam, Master Chief.
Literally. It's not.
And purely from an aesthetic point of view, I would have also marked it down to 0, purely because it had the Halo 1 problem, which was they couldn't have enough textures on walls and stuff. So eventually, every corridor looked absolutely identical.
To be fair, though, I'm just going to say Enterprise D.
Yeah, but at least when you got
it was carpeted.
Yeah, it had carpet and it all bent in the right direction. The problem,
Yeah.
the problem with your honeycomb ship is it essentially was a box, and then there's another box, and there's another box, and they all look the same. Exactly, they all look the same, and they all have 3 exits, and you're like going around in circles for like 7 hours, and it's like this is the first fucking level. I'm lost.
It is Boxy McBoxface, Bricky McBrickface. It's Like I said, I'll just take the 1. I'm taking my medicine, not going to fight it.
I think so. Right, okay, science.
The science of the ship itself is not all that out there. I mean, there's nothing massively kind of what the fuckium, apart from really the FTL system, which is, again, just kind of FTL, you know. We can't do that and stuff. Yeah. So I suppose I'm going to pick it. What did we give old Imperial Star Destroyer last time out?
I think the Imperial Star Destroyer got a 2.
You got a 2. I'd probably go. It's a 2 or a 3.
I mean, it doesn't do anything outrageous. I mean,
the guns make sense. Mac guns. I mean, that's good science. Yeah. Basically, you know,
I think bad science is the whole warp driving down to the planet and surviving an explosion, surviving a sort of high speed impact. But you know, you can say honeycomb and all you like, but there's a conservation of mass thing and the speed and. Yeah, I don't think
it doesn't look right.
But
it doesn't. But at least when this one goes into a fucking atmosphere, it uses rocket pods, which makes sense.
That is true.
Yeah.
I'll ask for 3, based purely on there's nothing completely out there that's utterly stupid. And when it does do atmospheric stuff, it's using rockets. It acknowledges that it's not meant to be there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool out of it.
Yeah, I've got no arguments with that. I've got no quarrel with that. That's fine. Cool. Okay, then coolness. Here we go. You're back in the game, Pete.
Yeah, you can come back now. Step back into the light. Actually, you know what, for fun, why don't we ask Pete what he wants to give it first?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
This is an ugly, ugly ship. It's horrible. It's just a long plank. So, 1.
Okay, that's 1. I'm going to
one more than I thought I was going to get from Pete.
I have to say, I thought that as well. So I'm going to assume a 4 from you, sir.
I think I'd give it I'll give it a 3, and the reason I give it a 3 is I do love the ship, but it's losing a point. Firstly, from its very first appearance, it's just a bit rough there, and I do kind of have to acknowledge that. And secondly, we never really get a chance to see it doing anything in the game because all of the battle around the
it's a first-person shooter, isn't it?
Exactly. So it's all from on board the ship. So I'll give it 3.
Okay, I'm going to give it 2 because I don't hate it. I'm just underwhelmed by it, I think. So while I won't give it a slap down of a 1 or a 0, I can't give it all of my points because there's so many ships on this list that I would give more points just from a visual standpoint. And I'll give it 2, but I'm not going to sit there and lie and say, I think this is a really super cool ship because it's in a game series I like.
You just heard me give a brick 3 points rather than 4, which I could. So, I mean, I really can't argue with you here.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, well, there you go. Eventually we hit the end of that one. The Pillar of Autumn has completed its mission with a not too unreasonable 57 points. There you go.
That's fairly reasonable.
Fairly reasonable. So that's pretty cool. Excellent. Well done, sir.
It does have one thing I will say about the Halo games.
Yeah.
They have the most magnificent names of their ships.
Yeah.
They're insane, but I love them. You've got the Pillar of Autumn in amber clad, the Forward Unto Dawn. They're just such good names.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah. They're spring chickens compared to culture ships.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. The brief exchange of views is a good one. Meat fucker. Yeah. Sleeper service. It was broken when I got here. Yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I have to bring up. I think that's going to be my new Slaanesh watch. How can I bring up a culture ship at least once in the episode? Anyway, right. So, there you go. 57 points. So now it's on to the shining star of the episode.
If by shining star you mean exploding supernova.
Yeah. And it's the USM Auriga. Right. Okay, so here we go. The USM Auriga. Yes, the fantastic, wonderful ship from the fantastic, wonderful film, which is Alien Resurrection.
Should we just mark it 0 and go home? You can call this one good.
I was going to say, probably. No, anyway, so, yes, the USM Auriga registration number USM RV118 was a top secret, a top secret scientific research ship in service of the United Systems military, and it was notably where the USM project was used to recreate Xenomorph XX121. What the fuck? Oh god, it's not a Xenomorph.
At this point, he committed suicide.
And it was doing it by cloning the deceased Ellen Ripley. Oh, God.
I'm so glad you decided to do this at the last minute because I don't feel at all guilty, therefore, about not watching the film.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ship was ultimately destroyed in 2381 by Annalee Call, who deliberately set it on a collision course with the Earth. Hooray! In order to stop clone xenomorphs, creatures which naturally survive pretty much everything. Yeah, that's a fucking brilliant idea. Yeah, and stopping it from spreading and jeopardizing the entire human race. That makes perfect sense. Send it straight to the Earth. That's it.
We could go for the sun, or, gas giant. No, let's head for Earth.
Let's head for Earth, because none of these aliens will ever survive that crash.
Oh, it's all right because the franchise didn't survive the film, so
no, exactly. Anywho, this just gets better and better. Overview: the USM. Now, this might be a reoccurring theme, ladies and gentlemen. The USM Auriga was 1,200 feet in length, right, and maintained a constant crew of 42. Now, that's fine, no problem there. Until I look on the technical specifications, where it says it was 8,000 feet in length and had a crew of 49. Citation needed, Wikipedia.
Did they get feet and meters mixed up? Because I think 12,000 feet is about 8,000 meters, isn't it?
No.
No?
I
Then I have no. I don't know. I don't even know why I was trying to defend it.
Well, it does actually say the length is 2,658 meters. Anyway, clearly, complete rubbish. Right. Nobody knows. I'm away. I'm going to fly. I'm off. The Auriga was commissioned in 2369, and by 2381, the ship was in orbit around Pluto. Which it really looked like it was, because Pluto being a gas giant, the way it was, during its final stages of the Xenomorph 3 creation project. And it was here that the ship rendezvoused with the Betty, a smuggling vessel delivering kidnapped civilians to be used as hosts. Skip past the rest of the fucking rubbish, which has nothing to do with the ship. The Auriga ultimately ploughed into an uninhabited region of Africa. Destroying the ship and brackets presumably everything on board, causing an estimated $300 trillion worth of damage.
What, to the ship?
Well, exactly. I mean, is that to the ship, or is that to the uninhabited bowl of dust that it smashed into, supposedly? What the... Oh... Fuck you, Wikipedia. Fuck you, the person who wrote this. Fuck you. Anyway, the name of the vessel, Auriga, means chariot in Latin. Another piece of trivia, it's unclear why Ripley 8 and Call decided to crash the Auriga into Earth in such a potentially destructive manner. If they had the ability to reprogram the ship to speed it up and crash it anywhere, they might have also taken the ability to change its course. They could have flown it into the sun. But instead, according to the extended special edition, the Auriga explodes over Africa, and Call remarks that she's directing the ship to an uninhabited sector. Even so, the damage created by a large spaceship flying into a planet at high speed would be wide-reaching and extreme. The size of the fireball seen in the film would probably have created devastation across the planet from both the blast itself and subsequent environmental effects. The novel Alien Sea of Sorrows, I have never read it, explains that following the Auriga's impact, the Earth was badly affected, and the aftermath of the impact actually triggered a new ice age.
Yay.
Yeah, great. Anyway, so and then in that the Auriga was said to have hit France rather than Africa.
Oh, well, so it wasn't all bad.
And in the novelization of the film Alien Resurrection, it hit Australia. So I think we can honestly say that this Wikipedia is beyond fucking useless.
I was going to say, it's making Wikipedia seem like some sort of professional application here.
Well, clearly, yeah. So let's try and rate this bugger as best we can, eh? I'll go by I'll go by the technical specifications, because if I go by the written words, it's clearly written by a baboon with a crayon in his foot.
Or Josh Whedon.
Oh, yes, exactly. Yeah, but it's not my baboon and it's not my foot, and it was someone else's fault. Honestly, Gov. So the length, which is the greatest number, is 2.658 kilometres.
11.
Which gives out an 11, which is the highest score it is going to achieve. Trust me. In terms of speed, we have no frame of reference apart from the fact it's in Pluto and it reaches Earth in under 5 hours. So what's that?
That's crossing the solar system in hours, isn't it?
Hours.
5.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, well done.
God, no. FTL. There is no FTL to speak of.
So hang on.
0.
Cross solar system in hours is 4. I've just double checked.
Oh,
okay.
Huzzah. Fantastic.
Yeah, knocked the point off.
Knocked a point off. It has no light speed as far as we can tell. It does just travel under that sort of thing. So that's a 0 for FTL. Maneuverability. Well, it can't avoid Earth. Let's put it that way. When it's coming at it from Pluto. So I'm saying that as far as maneuverability is concerned, is pretty much a fucking 0.
Well, it must be able to turn slightly. So
I think you got 0 is space stations, 1 is bricks. This is a brick.
Okay, fire.
Don't worry, you've got competence coming up soon.
Yeah, definitely. Firepower. Okay, well, I'm looking here. And
does it fire in the movie? I'm not sure it does.
No, it has none. It's a medical research vessel. It has no weapons at all. So
0.
That's a big fat 0. Active defense. It has absolutely none. There you go. Passive defense. It has shields and thick hull plating. According to this, it's got extra thick hull plating with a stealth run capability, which is how come the ship is not attacked by Marines or any Earth defences. So I'll give it, for the hull plating, I'm going to give it 2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And for special, I'm going to give it 1 for the stealth run.
Seems reasonable.
Okay. Crew size. Now, this is quite interesting. If you've got a 2 kilometre long spaceship, how many people would you think on it? Well, would you think...
Well, we just had a 1 kilometre ship with 2,500 odd people on it.
Yeah. So 49, of which...
Not 4,900.
No.
Just 49.
No, just 49.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. 49. That's 49. And that's including 8 of them, of which are Ripley clones. There you go. So
I like how they put passengers, 8 Ripley clones and 12 clone xenomorphs.
Yeah. Which actually, if you watch the film, 12 get killed in the space of the film, so there is no threat anymore. But let's not get into that. I hate this fucking film.
3 then.
So, what, for crew size?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, it is a 3, yes. Yes, it is. It's a 3.
To spare you not, we've got to skill.
Yeah, competence. Well, okay, let's have a look at the competence. You've got a scientist who's supposed to be keeping these creatures separate. And
No. Before we even
them.
get to that, they thought bringing these things back was a good idea.
Yep, that's...
So that alone... Then they thought, how do we go about doing it? By cloning Ripley and going this massively convoluted route of doing it.
Mm-hmm. And then we have the scientists who don't work out how aliens work, despite having supposedly studied them for months. We have Marines who, when the ship breaks containment, rather than fight the aliens, they all just jump in escape pods and try and fly away. But they don't even do that in a panic. They get in the escape pods, leave the doors open, let an alien inside, the doors close, and just fire them out into space. It's just, there's so much cobblers here. I just don't even know where to begin. I think I'm going to give them a 1. And that's purely because they have the ability to breathe and walk and talk at the same time.
I got to say I disagree quite strongly.
Go on.
I don't think they're as competent as the ID4 aliens.
Okay, and in which case... Oh, right, okay. Where are we going with that then?
I think 1 less than that, basically.
Oh, so we were thinking a 0. Okay. Do you know what? I think that's perfect.
I was thinking -11, frankly, mate.
Well, the fact, do you know what? The fact that they come up with this cockamamie plan of having emergency measures on a scientific vessel being returned to Earth should be immediately,
Yeah, the Eternity thinks to return to Earth. That they think that crashing it into the Earth is the best thing to do with it.
Yep.
Once they do that,
Yep.
it's
yeah,
the fucking hybrid alien.
yeah. Okay,
-11, mate.
That's the Betty. Okay, so a -11 for competence. That's fine. Okay, exterior. Now this, firstly, it's a fucking ugly model.
It is.
Secondly, the film got recut and refilmed and re-edited, and at some point, the ship got lost in the production, and they rebuilt it, and then they built it from different parts that they filmed up close, and then finally they decided that they wanted to see the whole thing, and then they just stuck all the parts that they'd filmed together in a big mishmash, which means that ultimately there's not a single shot of the ship from the exterior that looks like any other shot of the ship from the exterior.
Let me put it this way, Lee. The Wayfarer in the book I've been reading
Yeah.
There's no picture on the cover.
No.
And you don't see it anywhere, is better realised than this thing.
Yeah. Pete?
Mark it 0.
If they can't keep consistent, yeah, that's got to be 0.
It's not a consistent model. It's just not.
You look at a picture of this thing from the sides, and then you look at the picture of it from the rear.
Yep.
In fact, if you just type USM Auriga in the Google search for images, the first 3 images supposedly show the same ship. There is no correlation between those 3 images at all.
No, none at all. Yeah, 1 minute.
Mark it 0.
Yeah, 1 minute it's got like four big engines on the back. Next minute it looks like the SS Roger Young, and then there's another one on the Wikipedia which has it with a sort of little hammerhead thing on the front. And another picture which it doesn't, and then another picture where it has 4 engines.
Which,
and another
if
picture
you're reading
a
book, would be fair enough because you're just going by the description. But in a film, you'd expect rather better of.
Yeah, you would hope there was something else going on, but no, it's TOS. It's a tossy model. It really is. It really has no references whatsoever. So, mark it 0. I'm happy for that. Okay, interior. I mean...
It has one.
It has one, and it has a basket...
They're not bad sets.
They're not bad sets. It has basketball court, and it has a platform, and it has some grills, and it has a swimming pool. Docking bay. I mean, as much as I'd like to give it 0, I think it's quite nicely constructed, so I've got to give it like a 3.
Yeah. Again, as much as I want to give this thing a proper kicking, the interior is okay for what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, science. I mean, it doesn't do anything. It literally does nothing. It has nothing. It has engines which propel it across the solar system in a matter of hours. So it's a bit wonky on the science anyway, given the fact that this thing is huge, 2 kilometers long, and then you've got the engines that could power this thing. I mean, I'm thinking 2. It's not doing anything horrible, but it's not necessarily doing anything that makes me think, hey, they really
we've got no black
this.
holes powering the thing or cloaking devices, so we can't really give it a proper kicking, but 2.
Okay, 2 it is. Cool factor. I'm going to give it a big fat 0.
You can't.
What do you mean I can't? It's mine.
You brought it, you have to give it at least 1.
Okay, 1. Pete?
Can I give it a 0?
You can. We can give it 0.
Well, I will then.
Yeah,
okay.
You can mark it 0 for me as well. We can give it 0.
So it's got one whole cool point. It's the least cool.
You know what, Lee?
Hmm?
I'm feeling magnanimous. You can give it 0 if you want.
Cool.
It's fucking ugly.
Do you know it's the least cool ship in our entire list of 70-odd ships?
It really is.
Yeah, it is. So there you go. Fuck you out of 10, this thing's got. And that gives it a grand total of 16 points.
Still doing better than Voyager.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of damning with faint praise, mind you, isn't it, really?
It is true.
I mean, it's
Very definition.
It's it's way below Button Moonship. It's way below the Martian Maggot. I mean, there's it's lower than the JJ Prize. It's lower.
I just want to see something real quick. Okay, yeah. If we hadn't given Voyager minus 50 for crew competence, it would have been well below Voyager.
Yeah, probably, and rightly so.
Yes.
So there you go. The USM Auriga, 16 freaking points, and bloody damn right is what I say.
Lucky it got those at that.
Yeah. In fact, I should. Yeah, the model would have got minus something if I suddenly thought about the colour being brown and then 1 minute being blue and the next minute being grey. But
Yeah, no, it's
crap old ship. Right. Okay. Well, there you go. That's the Space Dog Jury for this week. Thank you very much for listening. But before we go, it's time for us to tell you what we're going to be doing on the following full episode. So I will be bringing next time the USS Roger Young from Starship Troopers.
An excellent choice, sir. Well played. I had so much fun in the Haloverse. I'm going to stay there this week. And I am going to bring the UNSC Spirit of Fire from Halo Wars.
And I shall be bringing...
Dispatch War Rocket Ajax to bring back his body.
Nice!
Well... Oh, sorry, golf clap right there.
War Rocket Ajax, man alive.
Oh, excellent.
Guess what happens to it right at the end, folks?
Yeah, it kills its own boss.
Yes! Ultimate crash.
You've gone for an absolute double whammy there.
Oh, wow, that's... Oh, I salute you. In the same way I'd salute a captain going down with his ship.
Yeah. Wow. Well, there you go.
If nothing else, I think he's going to win on the soundtrack stakes. To be honest,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to have that one tied up with Kalendafu March, but
Yeah. No.
I've got to say, well played, Pete. Well played.
There is nothing that's going to top that as far as the soundtrack's concerned.
It's true.
Wow. Oh, wow. There you go. Hats off, Mr. Org.
Yeah.
Hats off.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Right. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
I think we might have to give him a cool. We might have to let him give him a cool score of 5.
Yeah, I think so. I think Cool Score's going to get screwed up next week. Right, okay. So, well, thank you very much for listening, everybody. Yes, join us next week next time. Sorry, keep forgetting there's a mini-sode in between.
Yeah.
Join us next time for the Roger Young, the Spirit of Fire, and I got to do it again. Hold on, I've got to do it again.
Dispatch War Rocket Ajax to bring back his body.
Oh,
Fuck it, I can see you win this one, Pete. You win.
Yeah, we just roll over. Just.
It's not going to score highly, but it's still going to win.
It's gonna.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna score. It's gonna score much for special. Much for special. Much special. Big wow.
Basically, I'll tell you this much, yeah? You have finally brought a ship with a better soundtrack than the Executor.
Yep. Well, there you go. So, until next time, join us on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/space.jury. Join Pete and occasionally us when we're feeling devilish on Twitter, at space.jury. And Pete, what about yourself, sir? Where shall we find you?
What about me?
Where are you? Where else are you, sir?
I don't know. I'm lost. I also could be found on the broadcast where we're currently charting our way through season 4 of Deep Space Nine.
Brilliant. Right. Well, that's it then. So, until next time, I really want to play that again.
I said I think we know what our outro music is for this week.
Ah, goes without saying. It's going to be our outro music forever. I think it's going to score brilliantly on everything.
Really, it isn't. But
Well, no, probably not. But you know what? We can dream. We can dream. Oh dear. Right. Okay. Well then, thank you very much for listening, everyone. We'll see you soon, and we'll be back next time with either a mini-sode or the coolest soundtrack in science fiction. Until then, Satty bye.
chew bye.
Gordon's alive!
Seemingly, there is no reason for these extraordinary intergalactical upsets. Only Dr. Han saw
Space Dock Jury is a production of 3 Angry Beards for GeekPlanetOnline.com.